Hi everyone, my name is Loli Jane and I'm an animal communicator and energy healer. So welcome to the beautiful spring. So I am outside as I love doing anything in nature. So you can enjoy the beautiful spring sounds of the outdoors. So you may hear hens clucking behind me, you may hear birds, squirrels, and an occasional helicopter and airplane since I'm by the airport. So behind me is my beautiful Jack and the beanstalk plant that I have grown. And I'm very proud because I've grown my first bean ever. So I'm learning how to grow my own food, which is very exciting. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my journey becoming an animal communicator and what inspires me. And I hope by listening to my story today, you can be completely inspired to go seek out your passions and your soul purpose and just live passionately. And if they happen to include animal communication, then I can help you. I am doing a workshop, a series of workshops, beginning April 22nd, this Saturday, is the Introduction to Animal Communication workshop. So if you're interested, you can contact me after at my email, which is Loli Jane, Animal Communication and Healing. Loli is Loli, and then Jane, Jane. Loli Jane, one word. Loli Jane Animal Communication at gmail.com. So, what led me to become an animal communicator? So my journey starts out in my childhood at age 6 when I found out that I was profoundly hard of hearing. So I grew up my entire life being profoundly hard of hearing. My parents chose not to get a hearing aid for me, I guess from the doctor's advice, and I didn't get any surgeries. I didn't learn sign language, and I went through regular school. So I kind of learned how to operate out of my 5 senses. And I became very extrasensory, I should say. As you know, when the 5 senses, when one goes down, another one gets stronger, or you also have better access to the other extrasensory, known as the 6th sense that we call it, but there's many other besides that. So that was my lifetime. So I became a very keen observer. Early on, I was able to read lips to limb, and I would observe more than I would speak or listen. I became very shy and introverted. For me to be able to do YouTubes and podcasts that I do now it's been a life-changing, beautiful, blossoming thing, doing this animal communication and coming out of my own shell. So you can do this too, even if you're very introverted like I was. So I learned early on, I would say I was a keen observer, and I remember being a very psychic child. So I would know things would happen when the telephone would ring. I knew my mom had been in an accident. I remember that at age 8. I remember knowing things that I shouldn't know on the normal level. So I had a knowing, and I would say in my teenage years, I was very clairvoyant. So clairvoyant is when you can see outside the normal senses. And I would have something that would pop up like a TV screen, and it looked like a computer monitor or a small TV screen that had a video playing in it, and I would see an image of something, and then that would happen like in the next half an hour or the next day. So this went on for a long time. For some reason in my adult years, I became a lot more clairaudient, which is hearing outside of the normal means. So I could then hear outside of the typical, and I think that started because I had a personal angelic experience, which will be another YouTube video because it's a long story, but I had a gold light, angels, light of God experience that lasted 6 months for me, and it changed my life. And the angelic realm taught me how to communicate with them. They literally taught me how to communicate with them, and then I would freely communicate back and forth with the angelic realm. And then I became a channeler for other people. So after I had this experience, I was just talking to them directly, and I was taking a pranic healing workshop, as I was learning pranic healing at the time. And we went to lunch, and for some reason, one of the people knew that that I channeled angels. I don't know how they knew. Maybe they were psychic. And told the group I channel angels. So right then and there, they're like, oh, I want to channel my angels. I'm like, I don't really know how to channel other people's angels. I just know how to talk to my own. So they're like, I want to meet my angels. I want to meet my angels. I'm like, okay, let me try this. So I asked my angels what to do, and they told her what to do. And they literally said, she needs to ask. I said, you need to ask. They said, she said, well, what should I ask? I said, what should she ask? And she said, well, I just want to tell them that I love them. And they simultaneously said, we'll show you what love feels like. And they dropped this love energy down on our entire table. There was 7 of us sitting there, and we all started crying at the same time. It was the most amazing, beautiful experience that I've ever had in my life. So right then and there, I became a channel for other people to connect with their angels and guides. So I've been doing that for a long time. So I would say the angelic realm really, really taught me telepathy, like loud and clear, okay? So I wasn't speaking to animals at that point. I was just doing the angel readings and all of that stuff. So I love animals, as you all probably do listening to this. I love animals. I have just nothing but just joy when I see them, and I had my own animals. And I got to the point where I moved back to Hawaii, and I was doing a sales job, and I was doing the activity booth sales job in Hawaii on the Big Island. And this woman walks into my booth one day, and her name was Amelia Kincaid. And she was a famous animal communicator. I had no idea who she was, but she was an actress also. So she was on Gaia TV and everything. So she came in my booth, and she talked to me for 2 hours, and it was the most amazing conversation I've ever had. And I was so excited. I mean, I just was so excited, and I didn't sell a thing that day, and I didn't care. She invited me to a workshop that she was doing on the Big Island, and I tried to take it, but I could not get off of work in time. It logistically did not work out. So that night I went home, and I had a dream that night that my dog that had passed told me a specific message. And I came home. I came to work the next day, and she came in again to talk to me, and she told me, your dog that passed gave me a message to deliver to you. And she literally delivered the message, the exact message that I got that night. So, I mean, I was already doing it, not even knowing that I was already doing it. I tried to take her workshop the next year that she came back, but it just wasn't going to work out. So she was my inspiration. So thank you, Amelia Kincaid. You are my inspiration. But she wasn't going to be my teacher because it wasn't working out that way. So I kind of like let it go, didn't think about it. And I was attending New Thought Spiritual Center weekly, and about a month or 2 later, another animal communicator came in, and she was talking about animal communication, and I was just, again, so excited by it. I bought her book, and I went to lunch with all of them, and that whole group knew me, and they knew I channeled this and that and archangels and everything else, and what I do. I'm an energy healer by then, doing pranic healing, which is called external medical qigong. So they sat me down, and they're like, well, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this, you can do that. Why can't you do animal communication? I'm like, I don't know, because I told myself I can't. They were like, stop it. I'm like, okay. So the very next day, I woke up and I just said out loud, I am a master animal communicator. I am a master animal communicator. I am a master animal communicator. And I kept doing that. And one thing led to another, and my path completely changed. And I decided at that point to go to formal training. But before I did, I hired a channeler to make sure that this is my right path, because I was about to embark on something big. So I hired a channeler. We went to the beach. She was channeling, I'm not sure what she channels, Heart of Heart something. And she channeled that there's nothing else that I could do. This is my absolute 100% path. And as she's channeling, she opens her eyes, and there is a Siberian Husky that somebody brought to the beach that morning. It was the first time the Siberian Husky was on the in Hawaii, moved to Hawaii, and had never been on the beach ever in its life. So for some reason it came and sat on my blanket, and literally, like, I knew that I should give this animal a huge hug. Like, I don't know this animal, but I just knew that I should, like, wrap my arms around this animal and give it a big hug. So we literally hugged each other, this Siberian Husky and myself. And there was nothing but tears and joy in my heart when I finished hugging this animal. It was almost like the feeling of my dog that had passed. It's almost like my dog jumped in this animal's body and gave me a big hug. It was just, I could not stop, like, tearing up and crying. And I looked at my friend, the channeler, and she's like, yes. And this is yes from the universe. So it wasn't just one thing. It was like, just follow the path, follow the yellow brick road, follow your heart, follow your higher soul guidance, follow your angelic guidance, follow your path, and it will be leading to where you need to be. So I knew for certain that this was it for me. So I decided to look for schools, and I looked for different courses, and I decided to go to the Gurney Institute of Animal Communication, which had been around for 30 years, and I decided to do a really good training. So I did a 2-year training program with a certification and a mentor. So it changed my life. I have never looked back, and the feeling that I get when I'm doing animal communication sessions and talking to animals and helping people, and now doing angel readings. I do energy healing on the animals, on their humans. I do soul forgiveness, soul healing with the animals and the humans. I do past life regressions. I talk to animals in spirit. I've been a medium for humans. I mean, it has opened me up, and if you decide to pursue this path, it will change you in a way you never could have ever imagined. And I want to tell you how much it's changed me also. Is keep in mind, because of my hearing. So I had surgery when I was 17. I had a prosthesis put in, which failed at 35. And then I had another one put in, which failed again. When I got a surgery, it got yanked out. I've tried a hearing aid and everything. So I just deal with it. But I wasn't as you can imagine, I wasn't listening, and hearing was not my first language, as I joke around and say. So I was terrible. Like, I would pretend when I was a kid, I would pretend I heard people. Like, how many times can you say what? I was very shameful. I had a lot of shame, a lot of bullying, a lot of people making fun of me, and just total embarrassment and shame, because I would literally say what about 5 times, and they would repeat themselves, and I still couldn't hear them. And so I became really funny. I became like a comedian, and I became very introverted and very sad and very angry. A lot of negative emotions. So this has, I mean, so amazing. I have become such a better listener, a better hearer, even with my hearing loss, and wanting to hear people's stories and not having to pretend. And of course, having these and working on Zoom is very helpful, because I can turn up the volume. But I have become more assertive. I would say, the hearing happens in the throat chakra. So if your throat chakra is blocked, which it was, you also block the ability to be assertive. So your throat chakra controls your hearing, all your sinuses. It controls speaking your spiritual truth, which is the throat chakra, which is the color blue, the blue ray, which is connected to Archangel Michael. And it's all about speaking your spiritual truth, and also about asserting yourself. But so I've been told for years, my whole life really, by psychics, that this is my lesson in this lifetime, is to learn how to activate my throat chakra and assert myself. And so I am proud to say that via the animal communication and all the training and learning how to give feedback to the human clients was the part that really opened me up, because it's not just about the animals. Anytime there's a behavior in an animal or anything going on, even physical with the animal is trying to show or tell, or it always points back to the human. Always, because our animals are in lesson to us. They come to us in service to help us with our lessons. And so if we have lessons for a certain something, they're going to try to help us. So I was told my soul animal that came back 3 times as different animals was helping me with self-esteem and self-confidence to be able to do this. So I am proud to say, and this will happen to you if you embark on this journey, but you have to be open enough to grow. You can't be completely closed and say, I'm done, I'm cooked. You have to be open to grow. And with growth comes just amazing blossoming. So I learned to be assertive in a beautiful and compassionate, loving way, instead of having anger come out because I couldn't express myself. So my biggest issue was feeling like I was not heard, and I also couldn't express myself. So that will change for you. I mean, don't expect overnight results, but if you embark on this journey or another journey, that will open up for you. So as far as animal telepathy, animal telepathy is the language of animals. It's how animals communicate with each other. And because we are part of the animal kingdom, we have the same tools as animals do. We have the same upper chakras as animals do. The only difference is they have more legs than us, or fins, or wings, or whatever. But we have these same upper chakras, which are the ones that animal telepathy happens in all telepathy. And so those chakras are the heart chakra. I'll point to the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye, which we call the ajna, the forehead chakra, and the crown chakra. Those are all the upper chakras, which part is what we use for telepathy. And also behind the third eye is the pineal gland. The pineal gland is the one that looks like a pine cone, or it has a reference to a pine cone. In all the Egyptian hieroglyphs, you'll see pine cones in everything. And the pine cone is referencing the pineal gland. So if the pineal gland is uncalcified and open, then you have access to all of this stuff. Telepathy, remote viewing, psychic awareness, all the clairs, clairaudience, clairvoyance, everything. So it is the communication of animals, and also should be natural for us, but the only reason it's not is because we have not practiced or developed this anymore. We have developed speaking verbally. And so if you just take the time out to develop the telepathy, you do have the skills. In the words of my teacher, Carol Gurney, this is not a gift. This is not a gift. This is an innate skill that the human body has, and we can access this skill with a little bit of development and practice. So don't be afraid to embark on something completely new and something almost scary. Like, I cannot tell you, I laugh at this now. I laugh at myself because I cannot tell you how scared and terrified I was to do my first YouTube video, because I was so introverted inside of myself and closed up that it terrified me. I was so scared that people would judge me and I had to get out there publicly. It terrified me. I would call some of my fellow students and I would cry to them, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. They were like, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And I laugh at it now because it's so ridiculous. And you know, I jumped over that barrier, and as soon as I started doing a few, it was like so natural and easy. And I love doing it out in nature, and I'm not going to be inside. You know, I have a microphone because I do podcasts, and I could sit there indoors, you know, on my microphone and look all formal, but I don't want to. I want my feet to be barefoot like I am right now. I want to be sitting in nature, you know, amongst this high vibration, because that's who I am. Okay, so I am authentically me in nature, and it feels better. And then I also do podcasts, and getting over that hurdle was also similar. I was terrified because doing podcasts, you have to be a little bit more perfect, because you can't have all this excess noise around. Your voice has to sound good because you only have the auditory. You don't have the visual stimuli, so you're just, you know, listening to audio. And so you want it to be more perfect. And so, you know, I had perfect syndrome. And so I'm getting over that now, and I have to tell you, when I do my podcast and I play them back just to check them, I cry. It makes me tear up, and it makes me cry because I'm so proud of myself, because it is such a huge, for me, hurdle getting over that fear that ruled my entire life. You know, that shame, that fear, that perfect syndrome, that I'm going to be judged syndrome, that I'm not good enough syndrome, that I'm still hard of hearing syndrome, and, you know, I'm not ready yet syndrome. So I'm here to tell you, you can drop all that. Drop all that, okay? You are good enough, you are strong enough, you are fast enough, you are brilliant enough, you are ready enough, you are there, you're already there. Just open yourself up and do it. Do it. So that is my video today. I hope you really enjoyed. I hope you will be completely inspired. And if you'd like to join my workshops or the workshop this weekend, contact me immediately. My website is animals a dash or a hyphen speak.com. animals dash or hyphen speak.com. And then you can reach me at Loli Jane Animal Communication at gmail.com. LOLIJANE Animal Communication at gmail.com. So contact me immediately if you would like to do the workshop, which is coming up this Saturday, April 22nd, from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's on Zoom and it's live, okay? And I hope I leave you completely inspired. Namaste.